Hi, my name's Artie Pecoraro. I'm still talking about Ocean Gate in 1953. And this video is going to be a little shorter because it's easier for me to download them if they're shorter. So don't get upset if it's not like the other ones. Anyway, in 1953 when I started going to Ocean Gate, even much later, even when I was driving, in the wintertime, you didn't even have to lock your house, and many people didn't lock their houses, and many people used to leave their keys in the ignition of the car overnight, every night. I mean, I used to do that myself because there was just nobody around in the wintertime at all. I mean, really, you could literally lay down in the middle of the street for, well, in some streets for hours or days. My street which was a pretty busy street, you probably could do it for an hour on a lot of days, maybe even longer than that, and not have a car come down the street. It was literally like that. But that was nice. In the summertime it was a little different, but in the wintertime it was like that. Now, also, when we were kids at that time, we would walk around in our bare feet every single day for the entire summer. So we were basically walking around in our bare feet for 3 months straight. And your feet got so callous, so hard on the bottom. I mean, you didn't notice it, didn't hurt or anything like that, but they were so hard, they were almost indestructible. You know, we used to take tacks after a while after we realized this after a few years and we got older. We would take tacks and stick them into the bottom of our feet. We didn't even feel it. You couldn't go all the way in, but almost all the way in, and that's like an unbelievable thing. But when you're walking around in your bare feet constantly for 3 months, I mean, we really never put on shoes except to go to church on Sunday. And at the time, in 1953, there were 2 churches in the town. One was the Methodist Church. That was on the corner of Bayview Avenue and Asbury Avenue. The building's still there. I don't know if it's still a church or not. It may be. And the other one was the Catholic Church, which was only open in the summertime. And that was on Lakewood Avenue at the corner of Narragansett. And it was a very small church. So small, as a matter of fact, that there was a center aisle and there were pews on each side, but you can only fit 3 people in a pew on each side. 3 people on one side, 3 people on the other side, and the center row down the center aisle down the center. And after a while, they put folding chairs next to each pew on each side to take up part of the center aisle so that there was a little bit more room. But if you were, I guess, around 12 years old or under, most of the time you didn't even sit in the regular church. You sat right on the altar, behind the altar rail, right where the priest was doing Mass. They had a couple of benches there, but there was usually lots of kids there, and you'd sit right on the steps. And the priest basically didn't even move. He had everything right up on the altar, and he just stood in one place and just turned around to give his sermon, which pretty much every single week had the same exact ending. His name was Father Russell, and the ending of his sermon every single solitary week that I can remember was, "Parents, make sure you give your kids a double dip ice cream cone today." And that was that same ending of that priest gave in that sermon every single week. Let's see. Fourth of July. 4th of July in Ocean Gate was really special. It was then, it still is now, but back then it was really good. They used to have this, what they call the 4th of July parade. It was really nothing more than most of the kids putting things on their bikes, colored paper and stuff like this, and coming down the street. But they also had fire engines from some of the towns come behind them and putting their sirens. They still have that, and they still have the kids in the bikes. But the other thing that they used to have at Ocean Gate that they don't have anymore was you would get up early in the morning and you would go down to the first pier, and on the 4th of July, everybody got a little flag, maybe about this big, and a hat. It looked like a sailor's hat, but it was red, white, and blue, and it said Ocean Gate right across the front of it. And then after the parade, they would have races on the beach. They still have those, I think. And they give you free ice cream, free like little Dixie cups of ice cream. And they also had the Ocean County String Band used to play, and the Ladies Civics Club. These older women used to dance around to the music from the Ocean County String Band. It was a lot of fun just watching, let alone being part of the whole thing when we were older. And it wasn't just the Ocean Gate that was small at this time, but the nearest main town was Toms River, and that itself was pretty small. I mean, Toms River at that time, the main street, there was maybe 5 cars parked on it at any time. That was the most, and that's even in the summertime. You'd get out of your car and you'd walk right into the store. There were only maybe about 4 stores there. I think there was a hardware store, maybe a 5 and 10, a luncheonette, a fabric store, and maybe a bank, and I think that was it. That was all of Toms River, total and complete. The whole downtown Toms River. There were no lights or anything like that. Though there was a light, now that I think of it, when you first got into Toms River, but that was the only one. And I don't even remember if there was a light when you got to Route 37. But that Route 37, that's the street that goes to Seaside, that was only one lane going each way. And it almost looked like you were in depressed Georgia when you were driving to Ocean Gate from Toms River. I mean to Seaside from Toms River down Route 37. It was these little dinky houses, summer houses that were kind of run down, and little motels. And then you would get to the Seaside Bridge, and it was terrible. I mean, it was just awful. It was this old bridge. It looked like a boardwalk. You could see right through the boards as you were going over, and it was rickety. You had to go about 5 miles an hour, and it made so much noise, and it was so scary. Every time you went over it, I thought we were going to go directly into the water. So I'm going to leave off here at this time because I can see my time's running out. So I'll catch you again another time.